Plants vs. Brainrots, a brand new game inside Roblox who took over the platform in under a week. And yes, under a week, which is crazy for how big it has become in over a single day, reaching over 3.2 million players at its update on September 28. One would question how did they even manage to do this, especially with being able to compete with games such as Grow a Garden or Steal a Brainrot. But to truly understand this, we must first go inside the game. Now, for those of you who don't know Jandel, this guy isn't just some random developer. He's basically one of the faces of the Roblox game development. I'm talking about millions of players across multiple games. He made a Dusty Trip, which at the time felt like Roblox was evolving into something completely new. Then Grow a Garden dropped, and it wasn't just a hit. It straight up broke records and at one point peaked 22 million players. And yeah, that was the world record at the time. So when people heard Jandel was picking up a little game called Plants vs. Brainrots, everyone already knew that it was about to blow up. Because Jandel doesn't miss. He has this reputation where if his name is on a game, it's basically guaranteed to become a trending game. You see, Plants vs. Brainrots is a brand new game inside Roblox. It was released around the start of August that was still rather small. But one of the key main reasons on why this game got so popular was because of one of the biggest game developers who bought out the game fully. His name is Jandel, the creator of Grow a Garden, the same game that was able to reach again 22 million players and at some point at its peak. During that time, Grow a Garden held that world record, and now this new game might be the next one to do that. Jandel is not a developer who creates terrible games. He already reached millions over and over again for years. It started off with A Dusty Trip, which, if you don't remember, A Dusty Trip was basically a game Jandel made back then, and it's what made Roblox so popular to how it is today. And of course, with so much hit games in the past 2 years, there's no doubt that he's earned millions off of it. Now with Jandel buying this brand new game called Plants vs. Brainrots, many players from Grow a Garden think that this is the new game that will take over Roblox. Now, to give you an understanding about how Plants vs. Brainrots was able to get millions of players, we have to understand from the very beginning. Plants vs. Brainrots will start off with you having the worst plant inside the game, a plant in which that are very similar to the game Plants vs. Zombies. For those people who's as old as me, an 18-year-old, you would know that you would get hit by massive nostalgia. It was one of the key factors to its success. You see, Jandel was able to create a game so similar to what worked already from before. Jandel was able to copy off Plants vs. Zombies and repurpose it so that it's catered to younger players of today. Since many players of Roblox didn't know or have never played Plants vs. Zombies and didn't even know of its existence, all that Jandel had to do was make something new that's already familiar to them. And that would be those brainrots that are inside the game. Plants vs. Brainrots has these key brainrots inside the game that if you don't know, if you played Steal a Brainrot in the past, you would know that this was one of the core reasons on why it was very popular. At the time, Steal a Brainrot was one of the very few games to create a game like this so fast. However, Steal a Brainrot was the main reason on why Jandel got into buying Plants vs. Brainrots inside the first place. You see, Plants vs. Brainrots basically goes against Steal a Brainrot, and if you haven't known it yet, Steal a Brainrot stole Grow a Garden's world record, and they were able to achieve over 24 million players, around 2 million players more, and with how Grow a Garden has been moving downhill from previous videos that I've made, Jandel could have gotten into Brainrots and how they work because of this very reason. It was the perfect time to do so, especially with Grow a Garden's downfall creeping in slowly towards the developers inside that game. However, of course, it doesn't mean that there is a god-tier developer, the game will be a massive hit. So before making this video, I went to try the game out. And oh my days, this game is so much more addictive than Grow a Garden. You see, Roblox has been very well known for creating games that have been very addictive so that you will either spend a huge amount of time in those games or just pay a huge load of money. Grow a Garden was one of them, allowing you to play the game for hours, or you could pay to win by hatching eggs for different kinds of pets. Every Roblox game that blows up has one thing in common. It's monetization. And for Plants vs. Brainrots, yeah, this game knows how to keep you spending. The progression is fun, sure, but the moment you feel that there is a little slowdown where there's always going to be a game pass, boost, or multiplier waiting for you. It's not pay to win in the worst way, but it's definitely a way to pay to speed up. And that's kind of genius because once you're already addicted, spending Robux or real life money doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like a shortcut to what you've been waiting for a very long time. Jandel has been in the game long enough to balance free to play players and whales so that the game stays healthy without collapsing under pay to win drama. However, for Plants vs. Brainrots, the addictive factor is progression. You see, as soon as I joined the game, I noticed that this was just a copy of another hit game inside the past. It was Plants vs. Zombies, a game in which that many young players loved inside the past because of how innovative it was at the time. It was one of the first ever tower defense games to ever exist that basically served as foundation for many games of today. Plants vs. Brainrots didn't just copy Plants vs. Zombies. They made it far better than anyone would have, and Plants vs. Zombies had a ton of levels, which eventually did backfire and make it boring because, of course, who would want to do the same thing over and over again, only seeing the same level number increase every single time. But for Plants vs. Brainrots, they made it so that your progression would be beneficial and it could be done through luck boosts, money boosts, and other more that you could see inside the rebirth option. It was a nice twist that from modern games of Roblox, it did not really make it boring. Although with such cryptic and ancient mechanics, of course some people would doubt how this game could ever be addictive. But the thing is, the way that Plants vs. Brainrots implemented this type of gameplay was far more addictive and complex that made us hooked. But this sparked the debate between the two games of which is better. Yes, they are two different games in mechanics. However, one of them is being categorized as better than the other. Plants vs. Brainrots being the better one since Jandel made it and is the owner of one of the two. Since Jandel was able to fix the problem between both games, being Plants vs. Brainrots and Steal a Brainrot, and the mistakes of those games turn as benefits for his own creation. But anyways, this was not the total reason on why Plants vs. Brainrots got over a million players, as they also had a good sense of progression. Plants vs. Brainrots has this rebirth system, where in each update, you can basically reset a good amount of progress for buffs and unlock game features. It was one of the failures Jandel was not able to address inside Grow a Garden, his previous game. Now, he learned from his mistakes, and he did implement a rebirth system so that if there was ever an incident that made it such an OP item was applicable because of a bug, he can just reset everyone's progress without having to worry about the backlash he's gonna get. We also have talked about how the game makes money. Plants vs. Brainrot has a ton of game passes, boosts that keep players spending. It's not that because it's about playing for fun. The game is designed to get you hooked. And once you're hooked, you're tempted to spend Robux to speed up your progress. And that's where Jandel's experience comes in because he already knows how to play with free-to-play players and those pay-to-win mechanics. So for those game passes that you can see inside the game, they're pretty much the bait that Jandel already has applied. It was rather genius in my opinion because, of course, it's rather different from how Grow a Garden was, where it didn't have the game passes. However, they were luring you in with, of course, the Robux paid option for better eggs. You see, Jandel already faced huge backlash before because he tried applying a rebirth inside Grow a Garden, but it was so bad to the point that many players hated him for it, and I have made videos about it inside the past that if you would like, you can check them out inside my channel after this video. But just be warned though that the quality of those videos aren't the same as this one because that was before I even started doing other game content. But by buying those games off fully and having full ownership of Plants vs. Brainrots, he has now full control of the game. Unlike for Grow a Garden, where he only owns a certain amount of share and he's not even the largest owner of the game, but for some reason, he's still the figurehead of the whole community. And going back to Plants vs. Brainrot, he can create it on how he likes and basically turn it into one of the biggest games of the entire world in a matter of maybe a week. I myself found how he could do it as the game itself already blew up in the matter of a single week. One update is all it took to add a good 500,000 players to their game. And as of recording this video, it's already spiked up to around 1 million players. And I don't think Jandel is going to stop there, just especially since this game is still fairly new. This is the part when I started exploring the game and when I got my first ever rebirth. And I realized that this game was a better version of those two games. Well, two games in which that are pretty much the biggest inside the entire world, with these two games being Steal a Brainrot and Grow a Garden. Jandel made these two games as a implementation of two of the largest games inside the world, with over 40 million players, by just combining both of their world records. And if you just want to actually be exact, that's around 42 million players. This makes Plants vs. Brainrots the pinnacle of what Roblox could offer. Right now, we can see its mass effects inside the Roblox community as it's pretty much climbed to the top and pretty much one of the top 5 games right now inside Roblox. Now that you've reached the end of the video, you're the people who actually deserve to see this message. And for you guys, I would like you to do 3 things. I would like you to like the video, comment what you think about the game, and subscribe for other more Roblox game content. And again guys, until the next video, goodbye.